God damn. Hellfire, fire. Uh, there we go. Damn. Oof. Dr. Lace Sunday MC about to hit the river. Fucking lucky son of a bitch. I want to be doing that right now. I want that. But no, just on a lunch break. Man, fuck this heat, dude. Like, straight up. Fuck this shit. Ugh. In fact, I'm gonna make this look like a wife beater. Fuck it. Going wife beater status and doing that. Fuck it. Ugh. There we go. Come on. Whatever. Only 3 days. I mean, 3 days left. I mean, oof. Got a new grill. Ooh, nice. Oh, before I forget, telegram me your PayPal or some shit, because I still got that money set aside for that ticket, by the way. And and then some for also, what I already owe you to. So, so like either tonight or like tomorrow or some shit, I can, get what I do have set aside and take it and send it to you. Get this bowl loaded up, because definitely want that. And some tunes too, rather. Do. There we go. Oop. There we go. Cool. Oh, sweet. Nope. But yeah, I'll let you know when I got that sent to you. But yeah, it should be like next day or two. Because I know the ticket was $160, and obviously I owe you like 400 something. So I'll at least get started with that too, and plus at least having the ticket already set aside and all out of the way. Surprisingly, like some of the cool draft air from the house has actually kind of been coming in here a little bit, because it is way cooler in here than it is outside. Surprisingly, usually by this time of the day, this garage is a fucking oven, which honestly makes me think that later tonight it's going to be a fucking oven. Doesn't stop me from being all sweaty though. Ugh. Man, at least it's almost over. You know, I guess in a weird way, like, at least, having to work during a heat wave is actually not too bad because I'm not really out in it that much. Just only when I have to walk to work. That's pretty much it. But, well, still, his name is Fuck. Because now it's just a common thing I'm, like, pretty much bitch about, but it's like, fuck, I just never do well in heat at all. I couldn't even imagine it, like, having to be in, like, the Central Valley, like, Cali or some shit right now. With it, like, triple digits at, like, 115 or whatever the fuck. Blech. Blech. Smoke. Okay. Already on it. Already on it. We're going in on that shit. Of all the carts, Scott Esselman manager has grill shopping carts. Funny enough, I was just talking to one of the other former courtesies is now in our department. I was just telling him a story about that before I went on lunch. About when they actually did do that to me once. Like years back. But I would just straight up tell them no. Like, I mean, it's like, I'm over here. Like, I'm scheduled to be over here today. Like, I mean, like, you're not gonna get me to do that. Like, I've already done that once before, and that was, like, during the fall season when they did that shit, 2 years back. I remember that much. So at least it wasn't, like, utterly fucking terrible. Or it might have been during the springtime, like, early spring, because I know it wasn't, like, super fucking hot either. Had some warm days, but... But yeah, no. Like, in this shit, oh my god. Like, yeah, maybe I'll do that as, like, one round, but, like, do it in, like, shifts or something. It's like, get one person to go curtail them all really quick, wait, like, 30 minutes or an hour, then get another person to go do it. Like, that would actually be kind of, like, reasonable in a sense, because then you're not having one person always, or at least, multiple people always constantly being out in that shit. And frankly, I mean, even today I could tell that there's, like, a lot of, a lot of shit that kind of need to be done, for, like, inside the store, so to speak, so. Need to pull Warren to get me a beer. I gotta go grab a beer. Yeah, I feel you with that. Like, a nice cold one right now would be amazing. I'm not even talking just to get lit off of, just as a refreshment. Like, having, like, I don't know, like, a Mike's lemonade right now, like a strawberry Mike's lemonade, actually sounds pretty nice. I wish we could do that for work. It's like, yeah, you can have, like, a single, like, little drink that's, like, no more than 12 ounces or something. That would actually be kind of nice, but considering all of the equipment we got in my workplace, that, would not be a good idea. I know, like, some workplaces, depending on what the job actually is, sometimes will grant that. Like, I know, like, some, like, small, like, little workshops and shit like that will, like, do that. But it's usually mostly on, like, owner discretion type of shit. I don't really know if it's actually that much of a thing anymore, because I know, like, back in the day, like, where, certain regulations and rules, were a little more lenient about these things. Like, I know it was a little bit more of a common thing. Not, as long as you can still do your shit, like, it's obviously, you can't just, like, get sloshed out, and it's always, like, pretty much, I've heard when it comes to those things, it's always, like, restricted to just one, basically, which, like I said, I could totally, vibe with that shit, honestly, all in all. When it comes down to that type of shit, because it's like, hey, when you got, like, a nice hot day like this, it's like, shit. Like, I totally would love to have a cold one. Totally would love it. Because this ain't doing shit. OSHA allows beer as long as you drink it in an OSHA-approved bucket. I could unironically kind of see that. OSHA can sometimes be annoying, but you know what? I mean, hey. Honestly, they're just there to look out for everybody. Can't really be, like, super butthurt at them. It's like, hey, how'd you get this job done so quickly? OSHA violations. Yeah, I might as well just finish the rest of this fucking thing. Which is annoying because they don't see extreme heat as a problem. Well, yeah. That's why I say they're annoying, sometimes. Because they ought to honestly be enforcing shit, like that. Especially when it comes to, like, some of these states like Florida and Texas where I've been revoking these laws, being like, yeah, heat breaks, shade breaks and shit. Nah, go fuck yourself. You don't get water breaks or anything like that. I mean, like, that's something where OSHA should honestly be like, literally smacking, like, some cheeks, dude. Clapping that up, you know what I mean? But no, they would rather, like, get at you for, like, maybe doing, like a job in a more smarter way, in a sense, even if it is, like, skirting a rule. Like, because I know one, where it's like, hey, how'd you clean the meat slices so quickly? Unironically, OSHA violations, if you if you want the truth. Like, I mean, because you're technically supposed to, unplug them and then wipe them down. But frankly, when it comes to cleaning the blade, especially like the cheese slicer blade, because of all the cheese that gets gunked on it, low-key, fuck that. Like, I'll leave it plugged in. I'll turn it on, honestly. Like, I will do that. I'll make sure it's set to 0 so I'm not, like, endangering myself. Like, it's safe to do what I'm doing. Like, and just, like, take, a nice hot wet rag and just hold it down on the blade, and then if it's really gunked up, I'll move it back and forth a little bit, or even, like, kind of do a circular motion countering, the blade spinning. And dead ass, like, it cuts down the time to clean that fucking thing, like, by, like, 5 minutes, like, straight up. My work is hell strict, stuff like that. Well, I'm a grocery store too, and honestly, I guarantee you that every grocery store has at least got a few OSHA violations going on, okay? And the thing is, like, I mean, like, there's no real inherent danger to it. The main reason why they have that as a rule is because of the blade itself, basically. Like, it's to minimize any potential risk of it, but you still could cut yourself clean, the damn thing, even with it uncut, or with it unplugged. Because I've cut my thumb and my fingers a few times before, just trying to get in between, the blade and the blade guard, just cleaning that. And I sure shit don't turn on or have the blade on or anything like that doing that. And honestly, like, you're more likely to cut yourself doing that because sometimes, for the meat one especially, like, it gets really, like, gruttery and, like, gross, with all, like, the little shavings and meat chunks that build up in the, the back of the blade guard and shit. So it's like you kind of have to, like, really get in there a little bit. And your thumbs are, like, really close to the blade at that point, or at least your digits. So it's like you're likely to dead ass straight up, like, cut yourself a little bit. And I have before. Gnarly cuts too. So, the whole, like, me wiping the blade down while it's on and spinning versus, like, any other thing about cleaning that damn, meat slicers and shit, it isn't really that big of a deal, all things considered. And frankly, like I said, I guarantee you every grocery store's got at least a little bit of that going on. What's another... I'm trying to think, what's another OSHA violation that I could think of? Trying to think. I know there was one for a while that was really honestly bad, and it was some bad wiring, like, in our like in our department actually, because for a while we started smelling these, like this kind of weird burnt, like kind of plastic, like almost battery smell, and you know we were wondering what the fuck it was for a while, and we started shortly after that realizing, or before, during, and like after that, like uh, the outlets for our meat counter area constantly were like resetting themselves, where you had to like press the button on it over and over again to like turn it back on, to the point where it just like obviously something was up, and we decided, so obviously there was a work order on it, and they looked at it, and what it was that the wiring that when they first like built up the store, like schematics and shit, hasn't been replaced since then, and literally like got eroded to the point where it was an actual electrical fucking fire hazard, to where it could have unironically have like burnt the store down or some shit. Like straight up. I guess that wouldn't necessarily be an OSHA violation, but I mean it's definitely like a big like what the fuck kind of thing, where it's just like what? It's like, excuse me. And I know this isn't really a violation, but this is just kind of a stupid fucking thing that really just makes it annoying as fuck, to like clean shit. Can't have steel wool or anything like that, or like like sponge patches, or like sponges and shit. We have to like basically like use like these white scrubby things that don't really work that well. Like, I mean, when you just get them and they're like haven't been used yet, they're fine, but as soon as you start using them, they wear out really quickly, and it's a bitch and a half to clean shit with. It's so annoying. It's like, which also I've never heard of before. Like what kitchen doesn't use like like wool scrubbies and things like that? Like, huh? It's the most confusing fucking thing, but that for some reason can't have it at all. Supposedly it's because like, oh well, people might get like wool, or steel wool in their food or some shit. I'm just like, uh, unless you're like a Neanderthal or something and don't know how to use those damn things, that doesn't really happen. I mean, like basically, like, I mean, once they start getting worn out, like anything else, obviously you got to toss them. You don't just use them to the point until they just like break apart. It's like once they start doing that, you replace them with a fresh one. Duh. It's like Corvette always goes to the most extreme level of shit like this, and it's so dumb. And it just makes, honestly, like work just harder because it's like literally just mild inconveniences. It's like, come on, like really, like Jesus. I will say this at least: our new manager has actually been pretty good about shit so far. I've actually been kind of liking her. Definitely a go getter, for sure, but it's actually like reasonable though. Like, and actually wants to make sure there's like a clear like line of communication, because she seems like she trusts me enough about like communicating things and stuff. And it's actually even saying, it's like, hey, thank you for keeping up with this and this and blah blah blah. Like, so she's actually like someone that does kind of take notice of that too. I'm just like, okay. It's like, it's kind of, I still kind of get this sense of like, oh shit, she wants to talk to me, uh-oh. Like, I still kind of get that vibe, every time, but I think that's just because, like, every time I usually get pulled aside, it's always about, used to usually be about, like, why you do this? It's like, it's like basically an interrogation, but now it's not really as bad, I guess. Like, there's still kind of like this sense of like, hey, make sure this is, and this and that, and oh, make sure you're on your clock for lunches and stuff, blah, 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 there's still that a little bit, but at least it's actually kind of like in tandem with one actually kind of communicating with what the fuck, is going on, and actually like make sure, things actually do kind of run smooth a little bit, which, it's getting there, so, like I said, I guess we'll have to see a little more, but I'm starting to kind of honestly like her a little. If there's ever a gaping crater as there used to be, we know the cause. No shit. Well, that electrical wire thing is fixed now. He replaced the outlets and the wiring, so that shouldn't be a problem now. But yeah, that store always has got some shit going on, dude. Like straight up, when I say like honestly, they're like that store's got like some violations and shit. It does. Like if because honestly, I like dead ass. If I really wanted to, like go with like a hoorah and like big fuck you to the company or some shit. If I left or something, I could easily like go to every department and go to people and be like, hey, what's like some shit you notice that's like a problem, like an actual violations that the state could actually crack down on. It's like I could, and there'd be a list. But for me, it would just be kind of funny. Here, what time for that? Yeah, cool. Still got plenty of time. Ugh. Don't want to go back in that heat. Boo. You know what? I'm gonna actually wet my head down with some cold water. That would be nice. I'm gonna do that because that will help cool down a little bit. Woo. Ooh. Ooh. That felt good. Oh, that was nice. Oh, that felt good. Well, like that, like straight up, like dropped the heat in my body by like a good 5 some degrees right there. I'll tell you what. Oh, that felt good. There. A little thing to kind of look at before we skippity dippity do it all on our way on back to work. Let's see. Oh shit. Oh damn, the left coalition in France fucking won their elections. Damn. Hell yeah, that's good shit. Nice. I didn't like honestly. I wasn't really too sure like how those elections are going to turn out because I was actually kind of tuning into that a little bit because it was last week where they had like their first round of elections and shit, and it ended up being like the right and the left kind of like winning a lot of seats, and where it was like, huh, this could literally swing one way or the other, and well, it looks like it swung pretty radically toward, well, maybe not radically. But at least it shifted leftward in this case after this round election. So shit, I dig it. I wonder what I wonder what that would mean for France and shit. Jesus Christ, my brain fucking like hell farted right there. Just follow on. Just like let's just do a Joe Brandon right there. Good lord. Listen, Fett, I just had a bad night. Let me just tell you, Jack. I ain't dropping out. Fuck you. My goodness, good lord. Just doing a Joe Biden right there. Honestly speaking, which I was kind of listening a little bit of like a song reacting to that Stephanopoulos interview that he did after the debate, and oh my fucking god. Holy shit. It's like 5 minutes in on that, and it was already a shit show on that. And I'm just like, oh my fucking god! And this motherfucker is such a like obstinate old fuck, an old bastard, where he just cannot help himself. He cannot help himself, but just like stay in there and be like, no, no. It really is just straight up some old man syndrome shit, honestly. Like people say it's like elder abuse. Nah, like it would be if if it wasn't for the case like that he's doing this to himself. Like straight up, like he's like only God would let me know if to tell me to drop out, and it's no, basically don't. It's like he's doing it, in a sense because he feels like like oh I still got my faculties, I'm good. No, like it's literally one of those things where people who are end up getting dementia will be prone to like popping off about that. We're like no, it's like I still got my shit. I'm not losing my I'm not losing my sense of self or anything, even though he literally is in sundowns after like 4 p.m. It's insane. It's like this is all like fundamentally on his ass, and is and incapable of willing to accept that or acknowledge that. It's strictly out of like old man dementia addled ego, and is willing to take the whole fucking country down with him for it. So yeah, that's fucking great. Because I would say it would be elder abuse if it wasn't for like so much of the DNC and like Democratic staffers, donors, politicians, all basically being like, hey, like this guy needs to fucking go. We need to get rid of him. So it's just like what the fuck. What the fuck? I just kind of hope when the DNC convention happens or whatever, like they just like the Democratic delegates and shit like that, they just pull a fucking Hail Mary and say nah and just reject them. Like that, I think that's honestly the would frankly probably be the best case scenario, and just like prop up Newsom or Kamala Harris. I guess. I mean, it's got to be somebody that ain't fucking Biden. That's for fucking sure. Because at least cocktail mom Kamala over here, can at least, string some sentences together. Because she could be unburdened by what has been. For we can change and unburden by what has been. Or whatever the fuck. Or whatever the weird shit. It's like, how would your hair fare in the blizzard but Kamala edition? It's like, oh my fucking god, bro. But anyway, at least get myself to work and all that fun stuff. Or back to work, I guess I should say. And back in that fucking drudgy ass heat. Ugh. Boo. But at least we'll be back and have a little fun for later tonight. So, peace out.